Meow, 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 meow. Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Meow, meow. Hi, everybody. Cantonese Cat here. Gonna go for a few minors I didn't go for in the last video. First one's Riot. Riot weekly chart being shown here. One of the underperformers, unfortunately. I did spot something, though. I was looking at us drawing lines just like any chartist would do, because that's what we do. We draw lines and thinking, hey, things gonna work out. Are we seeing a pattern here? Are there any particular patterns that are gonna end up touching a lot of points? And I end up drawing this thing right here, which is a pitchfork, and ends up actually end up touching a lot of points over here. It does end up looking like this overall is an up pointing giant channel over here. And then within this big giant channel right here, there are these subdivision of channels down here. And it's basically looked like probably just kind of bounced from one area to another. And it's just kind of been oscillating right around here from the top of the fork to the bottom of the fork. But overall, it's still at a range with the fork over here. This is the top of the range, the bottom of the range, top of the range, the bottom of the range. Guess what happens when things are getting to the bottom of the range? What would a trader do? Would they sell? Would they buy? I don't know. Guess what happens when this is getting from the mid part of the range to the bottom of the range on declining volume? Is it going to end up breaking down a lot further? That's always a potential, right? It also happens that I do think that the current area does represent a very interesting horizontal zone over here that does look like there are some previous resistance over here. So it does look like a big giant breakout with a back test, which looks absolutely insane. But so far, it still looks like a channel going up, and we might be testing potentially the bottom of this channel over here. I'm not sure. That's certainly one possibility. The other possibility, it could be back testing this horizontal range over here. Now, if you pull up the volume shelf, if you're trying to look and see, is there any important zone over here? Yeah, there actually is. Like this top volume of this volume shelf right here is around 7.8 or so. And price got pretty close to that range today. The lowest got was like around 7.89. So we're starting to enter an area where you're starting to get a lot more history down here. You're starting to get a lot more potential support down here. Now, the problem with Riot is also, is getting some pretty good support zone down here, but it's also hitting a lot of potential resistance up above over here too, right? For example, you have a big giant volume shelf right around 12, 13 at the top, and around like 8 or so right here. This could be a little bit of a tough cookie to kind of break over, although the volume shelf over here could potentially serve as a magnet for price to go up to like around 13, sorry, not around 13, around like 11 or so. If you're into that kind of like trading, it could hit up there, because this is a pretty important area where stock has traded hands for a very, very long time. So there's a potential you can potentially bounce around this range right here and get up to around like 11.5. Possible, but you're still going to have a little harder time trying to break above over here, right? You still have another range around here, around 14 to 18 or so. So a lot of resistance are still above, but the volume is kind of plummeting so far. So it tells me there could be a lot of bullish energy once this downtrend is over, once you're really flushing out all the sellers. And I think we might be getting pretty close here, because it's been close to like 2 months of just straight down almost. Once you clear out all these sellers over here, you might be onto something. Now, are there any divergences? If you look at the OBV, I'm not really seeing any, unfortunately. I was hoping to see a little bit of a good divergence, kind of get a kick up, right? Are you seeing any good, bullish divergences here on RSI? No, not really, right? So I'm not really sure if I can necessarily say that there's a bunch of bullish energy that's being built up, with the exception that volume just been plummeting on this big move over here, all the way from like 18 down to like 8, right? Volume's just been plummeting. So there probably is a lot of bullish energy that's being built up here, but I don't know whether or not it's going to be enough to push above all these levels above, right? If you look at the monthly chart, okay, so what are the institutions buying or selling? Like, what are they doing, right? Put up Black Cat, oscillator. It's just kind of been going sideways. I mean, compared to a year ago, there's an increased buying, but buying pressure is just not as strong as Clean Spark, not as strong as Mara, and even not as strong as Bitfarms. Right? It's not like how it was last cycle. This really was like one of the major darlings of last cycle. Could it end up catching up to that? Possible. There's a lot of consolidation over here, a lot of energy being built up over here. Could it end up pushing all the way up? Possible. So far, the whales are buying, but it's just not as strong as the other ones that you're seeing so far. Whales are buying per fintel.io. So whales are here. Is the trend overall still considered to be bullish? Well, let's look at a couple of things. Bollinger Band is kind of broke below the 20-month moving average, didn't it? Yeah, broke below the 20-month moving average. It spent a significant amount of time on the upper part of the Bollinger Band, but broke below it. It's a little bit flattened. I would really like to see this reverse back above, if you can, because the more time you spend on the upper part of the Bollinger Band, the better. And right now, it's just kind of seeing the 20-month moving average like it's nothing and just kind of eating right through it. A little bit frustrating for bulls. Ichimoku Cloud. Looking like you're about to have a bearish cross again. You just had a bullish cross over here, now you have a bearish cross again. Now, does this bearish cross mean that it's going to be a lot more bearish moving forward? No. I mean, price just basically gone sideways here for about a whole year. And the bullish cross over here didn't mean anything, so why do you think that the bearish cross is going to mean anything, right? But initially, it was building a little bit of bullish momentum, and this candle right down here in April has really been killing it so far. The good thing is so far it's been a little bit over half a month, and volume is still not very strong over here. This big giant candle down, telling me that the sellers may not really have that big of a commitment over here to sell. If you look at the monthly chart, you can really tell that these are just wicks above, and the real horizontal zone is really here. And it's just basically back testing this horizontal zone right here. Like you can really tell here on the monthly chart. So that's kind of what RIOT is doing. There are some positive signs. There are a lot of potential sideways that ends up, building up a lot of energy. The fork is positive. Looks like it is a positive channel, just kind of going up, but you do have a lot of resistance above. Is this a weekly bull trend? Is this a weekly bull trend? It still is. Oh my God, 20 is over 50 is over 100. Are we going to lose the bull trend? I don't know. We'll see how this works out. All I know is volume has just been plummeting, so all this move over here, even though price-wise it looks like it was very powerful, volume-wise actually looked very, very pathetic. And I do think that it doesn't really take a whole lot of bullish energy to come to really reverse a lot of this, but you do have a lot of resistance up here, so be careful with RIOT. One of my other ones that I usually track, and I track it with you. HUT 8. Right off the bat, weekly, there's no bull trend. 20 is down. 50 is pointing down. 100 is maybe flattening, but it's still pointing down, right? This downtrend over here, though, on low volume, this whole area right here does look like a little bit more of an accumulation range over here, right? You have big selling volume over here, but then since then you have buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So this right here is a little bit of the consolidation, but also looks like maybe a little bit of accumulation over here. But there's no bull trend. I cannot recommend this stock. It's at underneath of this big giant volume shelf over here. Probably going to end up magneting up to around like the $9, $10 range up here. But still, you're going to end up hitting resistance right above. Right? Ichimoku Cloud is below everything. There's no bull trend here, guys. On the weekly. What about the monthly? The one redeeming thing about HUT. The one redeeming thing about HUT is that it looks very similar to how it did last cycle, and HUT is generally more of a laggard anyway, and it could come on more late cycle compared to the other guys. You remember I was talking about November 2020 was generally a pretty hot time for miners. For HUT, it was a little bit bullish here, but it wasn't really like, out of this world or anything. It was a little bit of a laggard last cycle, to be honest. It could be a laggard again, but so far there's no bull trend. On the monthly Ichimoku, pointing down, Tenkan could potentially serve as resistance right here above. And price is like all the way far from Tenkan. I guess that's the only saving grace. Is like, usually the Tenkan with this kind of basing behavior, it can serve as a little bit of a magnet, so it can go up and meet the Tenkan, maybe right around here at this volume shelf over here. But there is really not any indication that we're bottomed here, unfortunately. Right? No cross over here either, for no bullish Tenkan Kijin cross over here either. The same thing kind of happened over here though. You kind of have very, very similar thing that's happening over here as it did over here, but there's no confirmation. Bullish or band. Surprisingly, the 20-month moving average is still kind of going sideways a little bit. 10.21 last month. Currently is 10.07, so technically it's pointing down a little bit. But it looks like it might be flattening over here, just like how it was kind of flattening over here. Right? Still no confirmation though. What about the institutions? What are the institutions doing? Let me pull up the Fintel.io data here. Institutions have left HUT 8. I have left HUT 8 around March. More institutions have left HUT 8 around April. This is what it reminds me of. Okay, it's not good. Some people say that institutions being in is actually not a big factor. Like, to me, I think institutions being in is a very important thing because it really does help set a floor price. Otherwise, traders are just going to come in and it's just going to whipsaw this thing up and down. Like, you want institution to kind of come in and help with price stability, but we don't have that. Unfortunately, that's HUT 8. Let's talk about some of the other ones, some of the smaller ones. What is IREN doing? What is IREN doing? Pull up the weekly moving averages here. Bull trend, 20 above 50 or about 100. Currently is just kind of squeezing between 50 and 100 down here. Not bad, right? I mean, it's still a bull trend. Just kind of oscillating around here. When prices kind of move along enough, you end up getting a bull trend after a while. And that's exactly what we're getting. Ichimoku cloud, what is it doing in Ichimoku cloud? Kind of fell underneath of it though. Not a big deal because it's just been oscillating kind of around the cloud here. It's not that concerning to me that it's underneath the cloud, just like it's not that exciting to me that it's above the cloud. So far it's just been oscillating. Volume though, buy volume up, right? Buy volume up, sell volume down, buy volume up, sell volume down, buy volume up, sell volume so far down. Reaccumulation. If you look at the monthly chart, put the Ichimoku, yeah, Tenkan is still resistance, unfortunately. What about the Bollinger Band? 20-month moving average is still serving as support. It's kind of flattened out here a little bit though. But so far, this is still constructive price action. Still having some resistance up here to break over eventually. But the resistance is not as strong as what you saw with RIOT earlier, right? I do like the 20-month moving average down here as potential support. Right now is 4.02. Could it hit $4 before it go back up further? Possible. It's looking healthier compared to RIOT. It's looking healthier compared to HUT. What about WULF? Let's just go back to the weekly here. It will be a little bit more consistent here. Is it a weekly bull trend? The answer is yes. 20 over 50 over 100. What is it doing on the Ichimoku cloud? On the Ichimoku cloud, underneath, just like IREN. Doesn't matter though, it's oscillating up and down. When it was up here, I wasn't too excited. When it's down here, I'm not going to get excited about it. It's just oscillating. What is it doing on the monthly chart? In the Ichimoku cloud, initially it looks like it might have been able to start tanking from resistance to support down here a little bit, but it's not able to hold. I mean, Tenkin's down pointing, so it's not going to serve as very good support. But I like the fact that it's been trying. It really has been trying to push above the Tenkin over the last 5 months. And Tenkin's pointing down, so it's going to make it a lot easier to kind of get above of it, back test it, use that support, and then go up from there. Do I think it's going to hit the top, the bottom of the cloud this cycle? I think so. Do I think it's going to hit the top of the cloud this cycle? I think it's possible. Do I think it's going to potentially break above the Ichimoku cloud and go higher? I'm not that crazy, but I'm not going to say it's not. It's a lot of energy being built up down here, though. And so far, if you look at the volume for the weekly, man, this looks such a very nice volume signature for accumulation. Huge buying volume, low sell, huge buy, low sell, huge buy, low sell. Reaccumulation. Oh, let's show you the fintel.io. This is IREN. Big institutional increase in ownership. This is WULF. Increase in institutional ownership over here too over last year. Reaccumulation over here. Accumulation also happened over here, right? If you look at these volumes over here, it tells you the same thing, really. Like buy, sell, buy, sell. Over here, maybe a little bit of capitulation before this big giant buying volume that comes in. The overall thing looks very much of accumulation range. So I'm still pretty bullish on these miners. I mean, sometimes you just gotta let things kind of play out a little bit. Can I be wrong? Can all these miners go to zero? Can Bitcoin end up dropping down from here to like 40K, 48K or whatever? And next thing you know, miners like dropping out 50%, 70% from here. Possible. I wouldn't really count on it based on the analysis that I'm seeing, based on the volumes of these miners are doing, based on what the technicals of these miners are doing. I don't necessarily count on it. Some look more better than others. Over here at this group, I actually think that the really smaller cap ones like IREN and WULF actually looks better than RIOT and HUT. But, you know, I mean, so far I'm seeing things playing out as how I'd expect it to. Nothing's really surprising me. The day-to-day can be very draining. I'm not here for the day-to-day. I'm here for the month-to-month and year-to-year. We'll see what happens, though. Oh, this 4, I don't have a position in RIOT. I don't have a position in HUT anymore. I own IREN and I own WULF. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.